famous vibrato. Will you all pick up the vibrato bottles and keep taking the pills until the required bottle is achieved? Children of the world, watching every day go by, changing my life, changes your life, keeps us all anticipating. We are searchers of the truth. Every man's a God.
Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. This time I'm going to show my vinyl collection of the Bee Gees. I'll show all the albums I have, and if I don't have any of their studio albums I will show the CDs. I'm not going to show any CDs of solo material. I don't have very many, to be honest with you, because I've got far too many of the actual vinyl albums here and a very little solo altogether. In fact, I've only got one true solo album on vinyl. So we'll start with the very early years. This was whenever the Bee Gees were releasing records in Australia before they moved back to Britain, and they released two albums there which I don't have, and they're very difficult to get, but the songs themselves are quite easy to pick up and they're usually on cheap budget labels. So I've got the majority on vinyl from these three albums called In the Beginning, The Early Days, which this is volume 3. I'm starting from 3 to 1. This is volume 2, and this is volume 1. Yeah, these actually aren't bad albums. They're better than what you would think, to be honest with you. They're really pretty damn good actually. But anyway, we'll start with 1967. And this is their first album, Bee Gees First, and this is a fantastic album. This is New York Mining Disaster on it, Holiday, To Love Somebody, and the fantastic Every Christian Lion-Hearted Man Will Show You. I love this, and the quirky Craze Finton Kirk. It's a bit psyche, but it's very Beatles influenced still, and this is a great international debut. They followed it up with Horizontal with the two hits, World and Massachusetts. This is not quite as good as their debut, but it's still not bad. It's some decent songs like And the Sun Will Shine, Harry Braff, and With the Sun in My Eyes. It's not bad, it's just not as good as their debut. Then the next one came in 68, I believe, and this is Idea, and this doesn't have the hit single I've Got to Get a Message to You on it. The American version with a different cover does, but this is better than Horizontal. This is actually a really good Bee Gees album. Let There Be Love, Kitty Can, When Swallows Fly, Such a Shame, Kilburn Tower, I Started a Joke is probably the most famous song off this. It's very good, and from 1968, and this is Idea. Then came the big one, Odessa, the double album from 69, and this is magnificent. This is possibly my second favourite album of theirs, with the title track Odessa. And the single from this was 1st of May, and Robin Gibb wanted Lamplight, but Barry got his way with 1st of May, and then Robin took a huff and left the band and went on to release a solo album, Robin's Reign. Which I don't have actually, but this is a really strong album. Sound of Love, lots of really strong songs on this. And I also have two compilations. Now this one is called Sounds of Love, and basically this is the second disc of Odessa. And Give Your Best is a great song, Never Say Never Again. 1st of May is on this as well. So they released Odessa in the 70s under two separate albums, and Sound of Love is the actual second one, and the first one, which is the first disc, is Maryport Drive. So this is a Odessa, Black Diamond, You'll Never See My Face Again, Melody Fair. It's a really brilliant album. Odessa put these two together. Individually they're actually very good, and they're both better than Horizontal, but put them together and it's magnificent. So while compilations, Best of the Bee Gees, bog standard, you can get this anywhere, brilliant album. So while Robin was off doing Robin's Reign, the Bee Gees did Cucumber Castle, and it was only Barry and Morris. This has the hit single Don't Forget to Remember on it, and this is the one where they were on the Clive Anderson show in the late 90s, and if Clive was talking about Saved by the Bell being a big hit for Robin Gibb, and Barry says, yeah, at the same time we had a big hit with Don't Forget to Remember, and Clive Anderson says, oh, I forgot to remember that one. And he knew even before it came up to that point that the Bee Gees weren't happy, and they walked off, the three of them. So this is Cucumber Castle, and this is a pretty good album. I.O. was the other song off this, and if I only had my mind on something else, not a bad song either, good album. Then Robin came back for 2 years on, and you would think this would be brilliant, but it's okay, it's not bad. It's got the single Lonely Days off it, and my favourite song on this is Tell Me Why, which is a real soppy Barry song, but it's a really good one. 2 years on itself is quite good, and Man for All Seasons. Not a bad album, not their worst, mid-table. After that they released Trafalgar, and this is the one with How Do You Mend a Broken Heart, which I'm never that keen on. It was a big hit, I think, for Al Green. It was a huge hit for the Bee Gees in America, but there's not a lot else on this that I'm overly keen on. Don't Want to Live Inside Myself was pretty good, and there's one about a lion here. What's it called? Lion in Winter. It's not bad either. So it's okay, but it's not their best. The next one, I think this is from about 72, To Whom It May Concern, and this has the hit Run to Me on it. We've Lost the Road is good, Never Been in Love is good, but they're getting very stale by this time, and they're churning out the same sort of stuff album after album. I'm not overly keen on this album. It's okay. I Held a Party is quite good. I haven't played this in ages, so I'm struggling to remember some of these songs, and Alive is quite good, but generally speaking, this 1970 to 75 period, it was becoming a little bit bland. So this is To Whom It May Concern. This one, however, I do really like, and this is Life in a Tin Can, and this has got the fantastic Saw New Morning. South Dakota Morning is a beautiful little country song. While I Play is excellent. Come Home Johnny Friday is another great song. Again, this didn't do too well. The public weren't overly interested, and the record company knew that, because for their next album, I'm going to show a CD, was titled A Kick in the Head is Worth 8 in the Pants, and this is an album that they submitted and it got rejected and was never released, and it's still never released. I managed to pick this up, it's a bootleg in the 90s, so it's not actually a bad album. Wouldn't I Be Someone is a great song off this, and King and Country is a great song, but no, the record company was not interested, which is a shame, because it's better than a couple of those 70s albums. Next up, Mr. Natural, and this is from about 1974, and it has Charade on it, and you can tell the sound is starting to change. It's got a little bit more soul to it. Mr. Natural's a decent enough song, Voices is a beautiful song, and Give a Hand, Take a Hand is like almost a very gospel-y type song. This is a good album, but did nothing. So they were a little bit disenchanted, and they sent a song to a radio station in America but didn't put their name on it, and it got the airplay, and that song was Jive Talking. And their next album was the start of the Bee Gees' resurgence, and this is Main Course, and this is my favourite Bee Gees album. This is brilliant. This is unfortunately titled for the UK Fanny Be Tender With My Love, and absolutely a wonderful what's it called, Nights on Broadway, as well as Jive Talking. But this has elements of country as well, and their old styles. So this is like it's like a crossover album. It's not fully disco. There's little bits of R&B and there's little bits of old style Bee Gees, but it really does work. For example, Come On Over was, I believe, a hit for Olivia Newton-John. So, and that was around her country time. So from 75 is Main Course. 76 is their full disco album, even though they will call it R&B, and this has got You Should Be Dancing on it. Love Me, which I think was released by Yvonne Elliman. Children of the World, which Kenny Everett did a skit on. Love So Right's beautiful. You Stepped Into My Life is a really groovy track, as is Boogie Child. This is a great album as well. And then they hit it. No, before that they released a live album, and this is Bee Gees Live, and this takes in some of their new material and some of their old material, and it's a decent enough album. It's nothing special, but it's good. It's good to hear them around 1976, 1977. Then came the biggie, which is not really their album, but everyone associates it with them. It's Saturday Night Fever, and you have Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, If I Can't Have You, which Yvonne Elliman also covered. Jive Talking's on this. You Should Be Dancing's also on this. More Than a Woman is brilliant. Night Fever, great album, and it's sold by the bucket load. And obviously this should be able to be picked up for next to nothing. And then riding high on the disco is Spirits Haven't Flown, which features the hit singles Tragedy, the title track, and what was the slow one? If I can remember the name of it, I can't see it. It's one of the best ones as well. I'll put it in below. But yeah, it's not as good as the previous two studio albums. Disco was coming to an end. So this is the Bee Gees, Spirits Haven't Flown. I think this might have been their best-selling album overall, though. Still not bad. Just before that, they did, I forgot the show, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is dreadful. I don't have it in vinyl, and I don't intend to get it in vinyl. It's awful, and it's not just them, it's Peter Frampton and various others, and it's crap. Okay. Bee Gees' Greatest, which is the greatest hits of their stuff from Main Course up to Spirits. Now I'll find out the song. Too Much Heaven is the song I meant to say. This is brilliant. If you're going to get any disco Bee Gees and you don't want to buy individual albums, this is the only thing you need. It is absolutely wonderful, and you do get a song that's not on any of the albums, and that's Rest Your Love on Me, and it actually has a little bit of a country tinge to it. And I know Andy Gibb and Olivia Newton-John released it as a single in America anyway, but this is absolutely excellent. Bee Gees' Greatest. So we're getting down rightly. Then I'm going to show this Barbra Streisand and Barry Gibb. That's the wrong side. And this features Woman in Love, which is a #1 hit for Barbara in the UK, and this is an absolutely awesome album. Side 1 of this is just perfect. The love inside, you just have to hear it. The voice, the song, the structure of the song, everything about it is brilliant, as is Run Wild, and of course Woman in Love. Then they released another album, which is A very, very strong album, but it did nothing. It failed to chart at all in the UK, and that's Living Eyes. Living Eyes is the single off this, as is He's a Liar, which was a poor choice. But there's a couple of other really good songs on this, like Wildflower is excellent, and Soldiers is excellent. This is a good, really strong album, but nobody was interested in the Bee Gees because all they could think about was the hairy chests, the medallions and the Saturday Night Fever, and by 1981 that was old hat, so they were struggling. And I think they were very smart, because what they decided to do was, rather than release records under their own name, they wrote albums for other people, and they had huge hits with them. And one was Dionne Warwick. They more or less wrote the whole of this album, and she had 2 huge hits in the UK with this, Heartbreaker and All the Love in the World. And it's a pretty good album as well, and this was released in 1982. And then in 83 they wrote for a full album for Kenny Rogers, and this is like a country album, but obviously he's a country singer, and this has Islands in the Stream, the duet with Dolly Parton, which was massive in America, and it was a top 10 hit over here. Incidentally, my favourite off this is the title track, which I think is brilliant. And this is also a really, really strong album. Diana Ross came next, and they more or less wrote the whole album for this. I know Michael Jackson contributed the title track, Eaten Alive, but this was the one that featured the #1 hit single, Chain Reaction. The second and third single, because I think Chain Reaction was the second single, with Eaten Alive being the first, which didn't do very well. But then the third single, Experience, is one of their finest ever ballads, and although the album didn't do too well, they did get the #1 hit from it. Then they came back, so they hadn't released since 81, 6 years had gone, and what happened? They hit #1 again in the UK with You Win Again, which is absolutely wonderful. This is ESP. Unfortunately, this album is not wonderful. It's probably their worst ever. It is really bogged down with the 80s sound, and there's a couple of decent songs off it, like Crazy for Your Love's not bad, Angela's not bad, and ESP's not bad, but generally speaking it's not a great album, and it sounds a little bit dated today. This is slightly better, but not much. This is One, and the title track of this was a big enough hit in the States. Ordinary Lives was the single released here. Those 2 songs are great. Unfortunately, the rest of the album is not really that good. So this came out in 1989, and this is One. Another, bought this at the time actually, from 1990 I think this came out. And this is the Bee Gees, the very best of, and this has got about 19 tracks, 20 tracks on it. They're all sort of compressed and stuffed into one LP, but it's a really strong album. Better on CD. And then in 92 they released High Civilization. Another hit single from this was Secret Love, catchy little number, good song. This is better than the previous 2 albums, and this features one of my favourite later Bee Gees songs. I know it's like a big ballady, lush thing called The Only Love, but it's an absolutely wonderful song. Yeah, When He's Gone was a single, didn't do too well, but it was really good, and Ghost Train is pretty good as well. This is not a bad album. Then in 93 they released Sizes and Everything, and yet again another hit single from it, From Whom the Bell Tolls, and this is probably their best of their later albums. Blue Island's wonderful. Above and Beyond, if it had been a single, would have been a hit without a doubt. Paying the Price of Love's a great song as well, which was a single. This is from 93. I would like this on vinyl. This is a pretty damn good album. Then they came back again in 97, and they had a huge hit with this album, Still Waters, and the big hit single off this was Alone. I Couldn't Love You More and Still Rivers Run Deep were the 2 other singles off this. Yeah, good album, very good album. Not as good as the last one though, Sizes and Everything. And Their last album from 2000 or 2001, 2000, is This Is Where I Come In, and this is really good as well. And this brings them back a little bit to the 60s, like the song She Keeps On Coming sounds something like the Beatles would have done in 1964. The single This Is Where I Come In, I think, is their most adventurous to date. It's excellent, and you get really decent songs like Just In Case. It's a good album, and again I wouldn't mind this one on vinyl. A couple more compilations I have, and this one here, Gotta Get a Message to You, and there's some B-sides from the 60s on this that weren't on any LPs, that's why I picked it up. It's pretty good. It's got songs like Jumbo, My Life Has Been a Song, Railroad, and also it has the Barry Gibb, I'll Kiss Your Memory, which is a country song. It's a solo song, which I think is great. Excuse me. And the only Barry Gibb solo album I have is now Voyager, and I haven't actually played it yet. I've only bought it recently, so I can't say what it's like. So those are my Bee Gees, my Bee Gees final collection. It's quite a bit there, but I will say, if you're ever looking for anything of the Bee Gees, a compilation, and you don't mind CDs, that's the one to pick up. Tales from the Brother Gibb. That's what I bought that made me go out and buy all the Bee Gees albums. This is brilliant. It's a 4 CD set that starts off with New York mining disaster and finishes off in 1990 with a live version of Spicks and Specks, their big hit in Australia before they came back to the UK. This is great. Love it to bits. Okay, so that's the Bee Gees for me. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. Okay, now all the best. Bye bye.